How's it going, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Georgiman and I'm your friendly neighborhood anime and manga fan. I love all things anime and all things manga, and I'm here today to talk about Code Geass, Roze of the Recapture, episode 5. So, what did I think about this week's episode? To be frank, I thought this week's episode was really good. I thought it was a really jam-packed, action-filled episode, and it also was a very shocking episode, especially towards the end of the episode where we get a huge revelation. Something that I myself was not expecting whatsoever, or I not even once it came to my mind, thinking about a situation where something as crazy as what happened at the end could have happened. But that's just Code Geass overall, and it's always shocking you and surprising you with crazy new developments, and I really enjoyed this episode. So I can't wait to see how the story unfolds from here, because the way that it set it up at the end, I'm very excited. Now, before I go any further with this week's episode, I just want to give you guys a quick reminder to make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you guys can be up to date with all my Code Geass, as well as all my anime and manga content that I'll be providing in this channel. It really helps out a lot, and I would really appreciate if you guys could subscribe to my YouTube channel. So if you guys could, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get into this week's episode. So this week's episode starts off where pretty much we left off last time, which is pretty much how, the Knights of the Realm, how they're gonna attack, the resistance, how they're gonna set the Damocles and attack them and pretty much nuke them. And what happens is pretty much we see two of the knights. We see I believe one of them is I think her name is Nara, I think, one of the knights, and then the other guy's, I think, is Havoc or something. I forget. He's the big brooding guy, like the big bulk, the big muscular guy. And we see that pretty much how they're gonna do is just wipe out the floor with the the resistance, and that's where Roze and the rest of the crew step in, Sakuya, whatever, and we see how they step in and they're gonna take them down. And we see that Nina is giving them these anti-flare weapons that they were talking about last week, and they should be able to neutralize anytime they use a flare. You just gotta make sure you aim it towards the flare itself. And we see that pretty much how this plays out is that they, Roze, she infiltrates, the Neo-Britannian army. She uses her Geass. She's able to get inside or get some people from the inside to work with her. And then we see an all-out war. Pretty much they go into battle, and they're I like Sakuya / Roze's mech. I thought it was cool how it flies. It reminded me a lot of Geno's from the original series, as well as the Shinkiro from Lelouch's mech itself, where it has a float unit. I was always a sucker for any mechs that could turn into jets kind of thing. So it was really cool. It was a really cool design, I think. And what happens is pretty much they started the battle. It's an all-out war, and we see that before the battle starts, we see that Sakura, disguised as Sakuya, she's talking to Norlin, and we see that she's like, "Why would you do such a thing? There's no way. Why would you even attempt to do this? It's terrible. You're just trying to make it so people die." And she's just kind of saying common sense stuff, and Norlin is like, "No, I just want to get it done, bro. Racism for the win." Pretty much that's what he's all about, right? He just wants to wipe out the Japanese people. And I myself wasn't the biggest fan of this scene, because I was like, okay, man, you he's evil, bro. I get it, you're a pure-hearted princess / princess, whatever. You gotta look like you trying to talk sense into him, but they ain't no talking sense to him. My man is a mad lad. He's crazy. And yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of the scene, but I was a fan of the big action scenes that happened after that, which is, like I said, the floating unit of Sakuya attacking the Damocles. And a particular thing I did not know about this Damocles, in my head process, I thought that this one wasn't gonna have a Blaze Luminous, which is the force field. I was completely incorrect about that. So I was like, okay, this is just literally a Damocles 2.0. Now, they did bring up in the recap movies, which is this is taking place in that universe where there's changes to the story from the original. They do bring up how the Damocles did not go up to the sun and get destroyed. They actually left parts up, I believe. They reverse engineered a new Damocles, if I'm correct. So that's how this one came to be, and I was just laughing, because I was like, it reminded me of that Star Wars meme of somehow Palpatine returns. I was like, somehow the Damocles returns. But in all seriousness, it was a great epic battle scene. You see the Blaze Luminous lower, so they can shoot they can start attacking the enemy and shoot some flares and whatnot. And an interesting thing to note is that Sakuya's mech unit, she's able to actually penetrate the Blaze Luminous, which is something that I myself was thinking about, because I was like, otherwise how are they going to defeat it? You know, Lelouch, he had to use his own Blaze Luminous shield to like kind of counter it, to make people like sneak in. But I guess apparently his unit now has a beam that's able to open, like, neutralize the Blaze Luminous, so they can just infiltrate, which makes sense. I mean, technology has advanced you know, a lot since then, so it would make sense that they were able to do something like that. And what happens is pretty much they infiltrate, they start attacking. You know, some of the knights, the lady Nara, my bad, she's you know, wiping the floor with the floor units of the resistance. And in the meantime, you see the rest of the people attacking the Blaze, the Damocles itself, and they're doing a great job. You know, they're destroying stuff. But eventually one of the knights, the remaining knight, he goes, okay, you know what, screw this, I'm gonna go in there myself. And he starts wiping the floor with the rest of the resistance. Eventually he's gonna kill one guy, and he gets prevented by Haruka. And it was cool to see Haruka get, you know, when her new mech unit just kind of wiped the floor with the guy. It was like a one-sided fight for the most part. She is really, you know, proving herself as a competent pilot, and it was really cool. Plus, a lot to see some short girl action. You know, I'm a big short girl fanatic. You know, my girlfriend 5'1". I mean, my girlfriend's like 5'0", like 5 feet. You know, love to see a short girl with some fiery passion. But in all seriousness, I thought it was good. You know, just like the back and forward between the two. And what happens after that is pretty much we see that pretty much the guy, he's like, you know what, screw all this, let's fire the Flayas. And they start firing Flayas. But thankfully Ash is there to counter it. It would have been a devastating blow to the resistance if this would actually, you know, come to fruition. And what happens after that is pretty much that we see that the guy, the guy that got wiped out by Haruka, he's like, you know, screw this, I'm gonna just like nuke myself. So he carries a Flaya because the floating unit of the Flaya has been lowered, and it's starting to go down. Because what happens is a guy from the resistance, he actually like does a kamikaze attack. He like goes in because he's like, you know what, I'm gonna go out blazing. And he, like, you know, he crashes his own unit into bombs that were planted there, and then it, you know, it causes damage to the floating system, which makes it so the Flaya Damocles is going down. So eventually that's what led to the knight, you know, the knight Havoc or whatever his name is, carrying a Flaya itself. And he's like, I'm gonna go to the headquarters of, you know, Japan, or the place, the island, and I'm gonna nuke it myself. Obviously Ash and Sayuka, they're very, very far away. So eventually we see the transformation of pretty much Sakuya / Roze's mech, you know, fusing into Ash's, which was really, really cool. It was like, you know, it reminded me of like Power Rangers when the swords fused together. So it was really cool. They fuse together and they go in and they wipe out the floor with the guy. The guy uses the nuke, the Flaya. They counter it with the Flaya, you know, counter stick thing, the spear. And the guy gets killed in the blast because it's still a blast. It just shortens the blast itself. The knight guy gets destroyed, and we're like, okay, cool. And they even, I think Roze brings up, it's like, hey, we're gonna take over the Damocles so we can use it for ourselves. But that's a huge miscalculation in their behalf, because what we find out is that the truth is that the plan all along was to use the Damocles itself, make it be destroyed by the resistance, obviously, and use a Flaya on the Damocles itself, and have it crash on top of the Hokkaido residency or whatever, or the Japanese island they're in. And yeah, that's the big plot twist towards the end, that you see this big Damocles about to crash on the entire city. I was not expecting that. It was very, very shocking, and I don't know how they're gonna stop this. Like, you see Roze / Sakuya's face with 100% despair, because you're like, okay, yeah, there's nothing they can do. Like, this thing is enormous. They're not gonna stop this from crashing. So next week's episode is gonna be a huge tragedy happening in this, you know, island, and it's gonna be bad for the resistance. So yeah, a lot of shocking moments and a lot of greatness to come in the future, I'm sure. Now, with all that being said, what did you guys think about this week's episode? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys thought it was alright? Whatever you guys thought, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, thank you so much for sticking all the way to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more Code Geass, as well as more anime and manga content in the near future. But yeah, with all that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.